both of us stay in the same vicinity, but I think we came into touch only when she landed up also becoming a part of the entire sports science field in general. So before we begin, I just want to quickly introduce Nicole. She is a sports psychologist and she's the co-founder for Grit Sport and Exercise Psychology Consultancy. She holds a double master's degree, which is amazing. She has a master's in sports and exercise psychology from Brunel University in the UK, and she also has a master's in applied psychology from Mumbai University. And she comes from a big sporting family. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but her father Henry Menezes has been on the Indian national football team, and is also the CEO of FIFA. At the same time, I think Nicole, your sister, is also a tennis player, so she's grown in a sporting atmosphere, and she's chosen her field very wisely to become the sports psychologist, because I think that's the key thing that all athletes require today, because isn't it, it's all her, and then everything else comes into play. So without much ado, we welcome you, Nicole. The entire ASNFS family welcomes you for the sports psychology webinar, and we're very excited to hear you out. So over
Thank
to
you.
you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and there you go, you can do that, and we're all waiting to hear you.
Yep. I'll just share my screen to begin with. Is my screen visible?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay. A few things before I begin. Firstly, there can be a chance that there's a technical glitch, and I am not aware, because this happened with me yesterday. I was not aware that I was offline, and I just went on talking till I was notified. So just in case if y'all are not able to see the screen, please, Mihira or Pallavi, just message me so that I know that I'm offline. And yes, so thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction. And it's a great initiative that y'all are doing to bring together, an ecosystem that can help, in development of athletes and sports in general. So I'm very glad that you invited me today to speak to the members of this association. And yeah, so today we are going to talk about, I'm going to introduce you all to sports psychology. I'm not really sure of how many of you all are aware of this field, but I'm sure you all are aware with the concept of training your mind, or, mentally strong or mental toughness, as far as it goes about. Before we start, I want to ask you all 1 minute. I just want to see how many of us are there over here.
57.
57, right?
Yeah.
1 second. Okay. All right. I would like some interactions. I know it's a webinar and I don't want to be the one only who is talking continuously. So we'll have a few interactions. It's just that I'm not able to see the chat button. So Pallavi, if you could help me
Yes.
with the response that comes in the chat maximum.
Definitely.
So
Yes.
that I'm aware of kya ho raha hai.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I found the chat button. Anyway, all right. So to begin with, yes, I am. I'm Nicole Menezes, and I'm a sport and exercise psychologist, and the co-founder of Grit, which is a consultancy that works with athletes, and we work towards developing their mindsets so that they are able to perform at their best, at their optimal level that they are looking to perform at. So before I begin, and move further, we're going to first understand the role of mind in performance, what goes, or the kind of people that are involved in performance of an athlete. Then we are going to also speak about the types of mindsets that exist in us, and We're going to speak about the process that a sports psychologist follows, or actually, I would speak for myself, what we follow at Grit. And yeah, that's about it. So my next slide is, I would like you all to, so I've written like A and B. So since everyone is on the chat and everyone is online, I want to understand from y'all, what do y'all think about this? What is performance? Do y'all think it is 90% physical and 10% mental, or 90% mental and 10% physical? I just want y'all to put down the option so that I get uh, an idea. Okay, everyone's saying B, 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 B. Okay, all right. B, all right. No one thinks it's A? A, okay, we have an A. B, I guess. Yes, go on. Think about it. When athletes, y'all, most of y'all are from the sports science field, I'm sure. So when y'all see an athlete going for competitions, and when he's on field performing, what do y'all think the ratio mostly is like? And you can speak from your own experience, or even when you have gone to play a match, or while you're playing a sport. So okay, I've had like 1A, and mostly everyone has said B. I want to understand why is it B. Like I want to understand why is it B. Because when we are training normally, you know, we are mostly training on the physical aspects of our sport. We are looking to work on our technique. We are looking to work on our physical conditioning. And we mostly, like 10% is something that we focus on, the mind aspect. But when we are talking about competition, okay, when we are talking about going and performing, one thing is that the whole role is reversed. Yes, when we are training normally, yes, 90% we are training on the technique. And if y'all can keep typing your answers, so I'm having a look at that too. But like I said, when we are training, you normally see how the coaches conduct the sessions for their teams or athletes. Is, there's a warm up, there is certain drills given to them, and they're then put on the field to play. So mainly, normally it is 90%, I could say that it's physical, but 10%, yes, there's motivation, there's pep talk, there's cheering, there's encouraging each other, there's team encouraging and talking to your teammates, there's communication. These are basic things that are there, but they are not trained during the training session. They just happen. Like, it's not like something that we are focusing on. But when we go on the field to play, and to perform and to compete, what happens is the ratio is inversed. And what is happening is, I am physically ready, I am technically sound, I have gone through these drills, and I have practiced over and over and over my technique, and I am going on the field. But I'm still not able to give my 100%. Or sometimes you hear from the athletes saying that it wasn't my day. I don't know why, I just went blank, or I froze, or I just couldn't get over the cheering of the audience or spectators that came, who were only cheering the opponent and not me. And these are the things that we get to hear. And that is because, yes, you are physically ready to go out and perform, but you have not mentally trained yourself to perform at your competition, which means that as much as you're training physically during your training session, you're not even spending 30% of that on training and practicing. How do you how do you uh, how do you be in different situations, or how do you encounter different situations, or if some obstacles or challenges that come in your way, how do I overcome them? So you're not mentally training yourself, which is why you experience pressure, which is why you're not able to play your best. And which is why we say performance during competition is, when you're performing, you're 90% mental and 10% physical, because that's when you're already ready physically. But the only thing that is necessary at that point in time, and that's essential, is your mindset. And that's something that's we don't really focus on most of the time during practice. All right, so that's great. Now, understanding, so this is a meme that I found on the net which says that, so you're telling me that 90% of your game is mental, but you never practice the mental part of your game. Which is true, and which is something we notice in most of the sessions or most of the practice sessions with athletes. You rarely find training sessions that focus on helping athletes to practice how to shift their attention, or helping athletes to practice self talk while they are training, or helping athletes to visualize before visualize before they get on the court or get on the field, or do their mental warm ups while they are doing their physical warm ups, so they're already mentally prepared to get on the field and play. So I found this really hilarious when when we see that yes, that it's 90% of the game is mental, and yet we are not focusing on it. So that's what sports psychology is. It is actually a scientific study, which means that there is enough research done as to how the psychological factors interfere with participation and performance. That when I mean to say what I mean to say is that when we are training and when we are performing, there are a lot of psychological factors that interfere with performance. And these psychological factors can be internal or it can be external. Now, when I break this further, what I mean to say is that when we are talking about external factors, I'm talking about the audience cheering, I'm talking about the ground you're playing on, I'm talking about the weather, I'm talking about the referee calls. These are all factors that also participate and also interfere with our performance. And secondly, when I'm speaking about internal psychological factors, I'm speaking about my thoughts, my emotions, my worries, the expectations that athletes have from themselves when they are looking to perform, the doubts that they have, or the fears that they have, or the emotions that keep them occupied, before they enter the field, or while they have started their match. So these are both external and internal, and these both interfere with sport, which is where a sports psychologist comes, which is where a sports psychologist actually is helping athletes to overcome all these obstacles that come in their way when they are looking to perform. Okay, now another small activity is, if you see this guy over here, he's one of the best, Barca players, Gerard Piqué, and I'm sure at least for the football fans out there who follow Barcelona would have encountered this match. So this guy here, he earns $14.7 million. Okay, that's a huge amount of money. Now, I'm talking about a specific episode that happened in 2017 to 2018. So, Gerard Piqué, this is his amount for the season that he gets paid. And in this period of time of 2017 to 2018, he has made 56 appearances. Now, I'm talking finance over here. Okay, so when I'm calculating, I see to it, when I make my calculation, I see that per appearance, he's being paid to $262,500, which is again a huge amount. Now, when I again further calculate and I divide it per minute, Gerard Piqué is actually earning $2,917 per minute, which is huge. Now, when I'm talking about pressure, yes, there's a pressure that he has his own internal psychological factors, which is the expectations that he has within himself, or the goals that he's looking to achieve. But yes, when I'm talking about external, it's also the amount that the club has invested in him. It's also keeping up to the expectations of his fans, and this is the amount that he is earning per minute. And most of the professional athletes, especially football, tennis, if we go to see, are earning the kind of amount that he is. And I'm going to show you a video, and I hope you're able to hear it. And I wanted to just notice what is happening in the video because I'm going to discuss that further. So here it goes.
The service, Piqué the header, second effort at the clearance from Busquets. Real Madrid maintain possession through Isco. Now Marcelo. Marcelo the cross, it's an own goal! Gerard Piqué has put it into his own net. And 4 minutes into the second half, we have our opener. Real Madrid 1, Barcelona 0.
Marcelo always with the overlapping run, always an option down the left-hand side, puts the ball in a dangerous position. Piqué is late on the wrong side, tries to defend it, doesn't do it properly. Oh my goodness. What a finish that is. Center forward finish by Gerard Piqué, only one problem.
All right, so now that you have seen this video, what just happened? He actually made a mistake, and he actually scored a self goal, and Madrid won a goal just like that. And what do you think is going on in his mind? Just look at the image, the picture that you can see in front of your screen. He's just baffled. He just doesn't know like what just happened. Yes, he's numb. He's absolutely numb. He doesn't know how to respond, how to react. Suddenly he would be feeling, this whole pressure, like, okay, I gave away a goal. And now imagine, for a blunder like this, imagine how long he is going to take to recover while he is playing the match. I just want you to give it a thought, like when you're playing a match and when you make an error or when you make mistakes, or you're giving a wrong pass, or you have a shot at the penalty and you hit it outside, or you're at a goalkeeper spot and you miss a goal that's coming to you easy. How much time it actually takes for you to recover from that mistake? And while 1,000 people are watching you, your fans are watching you, your club who's invested so much, who's looking at this mistake, if you know what he's earning per minute, imagine if he's taking 5 minutes also to recover from this whole mistake that he has done. It's costing the club around $14,583 $1,000. And this is what, and why have I put this in numbers, is because I want you all to understand the value and the pressure that's put on an athlete. Okay, I won't say put on an athlete, but that's what is experienced by an athlete. So imagine, out of 11 players, even if we have 4 or 5 players who have made mistakes, in the duration of the match, and who are taking even around 10 to 20 minutes to just recover. We are, first of all, if we do the calculation, we are just playing with 6 players. And that itself says how the mind needs to be trained in order to overcome this situation. And here's where you need a sports psychologist. What I could say is, if you're taking around half an hour or even 40 minutes or 50 minutes, in a football match to just recover from a mistake you have made and beating yourself, because of the mistake you have made, a sports psychologist can actually help you reduce that time that you take to overcome the mistake, or to overcome, or to bounce back, and get back into your zone. So we can actually lessen the margin, narrow down the margin, and help the athlete to take less time to recover from the mistake. Yes, I made a mistake, recover from that mistake, and again get back. So that's where a sports psychologist comes in place. So it's mainly for athletes, who want to perform at the same standard, but are not able to do so. They are they are not able to come back from injury, they are finding difficulty in confidence. So it's not just for athletes who are having problems, but it's not just a science that fixes problem, but it's also used as a preventive measure. And when I say preventive measure, is you train athletes first only and provide them with mental enough resources that when situations come in front of them, they are able to take the right decisions and cope and manage the challenges that come their way. So as a sports psychologist, these are the areas we work on: commitment, communication, mental preparation, attention, confidence. So we actually help athletes on how to focus your thoughts before, during, and after training and competitions. We also help them to control and manage their emotions before, during, and after training and competitions. We help them in to how do you get over your mistakes, or how do you recover quickly from making a mistake. We help them set highly effective and realistic goals for training and competitions. We help them get out of a slump. We also help them maintain a champion mindset. We train them enough so that they are able to consistently perform at an optimal level. We help them to visualize success, and to use sports psychology techniques such as visualization, mental imagery, to name a few, into their daily routines, into their daily training. And most importantly, we help them to work under pressure. This is something that a sports psychologist works with. And we do make a huge there's a huge impact that a sports psychologist has on an athlete, even when she's shaping or helping an athlete shape attitudes or perception, helping athletes to see how they see the situation, whether they are perceiving the current situation as a threat or a challenge. And when I've spoken over here about injury, rehab, and recovery, what I mean to say is that yes, while an athlete has undergone an injury, and while he or she is under injury rehab, where our role fits is we help an athlete to mentally recover from the injury. Yes, he may be fit on paper to get back on the field, but maybe his mind hasn't yet recovered from the trauma that he has undergone or gone through of his injury. Probably there is still fear of re-injury. There is still fear whether will I be able to perform the same way that I used to. Will his confidence be at that level that he used to play before injury? These are the aspects we help an athlete when they are looking to mentally recover from an injury. And cognitions is just like I spoke, it's the thought process that we work towards. Now when I'm talking about psychological skills training, what does it consist of? This is just like a small you know preview of how we work about at grit, especially is there are basic psychological skills that are essential in every sport. And every sport has a physical demand and a mental demand, which is why you see that a tennis athlete's physical training is different than a swimmer, or than a football player, or than a taekwondo player. So different sports demand different things from different things physically from an athlete. Similarly, each sport also demands different skills mentally from an athlete. So yes, the psychological skills or the areas that I spoke about may be same, but they may differ in intensity per sport, demanding on what exactly the sport is demanding from an athlete mentally in that moment. So while training, we focus mainly on goal setting and motivation and discipline, because it's very important for athletes to have a purpose and stay committed. So goal setting actually helps athletes to build the skill of commitment towards their training and towards their sport, and it keeps them motivated to go on the field or to go on the courts or to go to the pool with the purpose that, okay, today this is what I'm looking to achieve and looking forward towards. So it keeps them committed and motivated. And discipline is another behavior we work towards during the training period. Now, when I'm talking about pre-competition, I'm looking to work towards the confidence of an athlete. Uh, I will speak about the goal setting bit. Uh, I'm talking about the confidence aspect. I'm talking about the mental routines, and why is it important? Is because an athlete needs to believe in himself that he's capable of attempting that competition, or he's capable of, you know, powering through that competition and and playing at his optimal best, which is why we need to work on an athlete's confidence. And mental routines are the preparation that it takes, you know, before a competition. I would call a mental routine a mental warm up. Like how you're physically warming up, you need to have a mental warm up. For example, if you notice, like some of the athletes take time, you know, to build that momentum when they get into the game. You know, it takes time for them to start performing. That's because they have not done their mental warm up. So if I am doing the mental warm up before the competition, before my competition starts, or a few minutes before my competition starts, my brain is already mentally warmed up to enter the competition and already start performing. Uh, so that's why these are the two skills we focus on in pre-competition. Now, during competition, of course, the most important skills that we need to work on and train athletes is on how to handle pressure. You know, because pressure is subjective. It is each person has a different idea of what is pressure. So, you know, helping athletes and teams to be able to manage the pressure that they experience and work through it is something that we train athletes to. And the most important is emotional control and focus. Like if I am not able to manage my emotions, and if my arousal levels are high, that is, I'm overly excited in a situation, I'm not going to be able to perform the skill or execute the technique that I am supposed to. I need to know how to manage my emotions on the field or on the court, or while I'm playing a match, because there are so many different emotions I may feel at different parts of different parts and different duration of the match process. It can be even guilt from, you know, not being able to keep up to the expectations of my players, or patience, composure. These all are emotions that we need to learn to manage while we are in competition. And of course, focus. It is important to know what we are you know, paying attention to, and how to shift our focus based on what the situation is currently demanding. And post competition, very important skills that need to be trained is how to handle success and how to handle failure. This is where we reflect on what happened during the competition and the preparation that went to in the competition. So post competition, mainly when I'm saying about handle success, is that I need to learn how to manage the emotions or manage the success that I've experienced, because I cannot take that to the next match. Because if I take that to the next match, I'm not going to focus on what is happening with me right now. So I need to learn to handle my success and my failures. It's the same. If I failed in this match, and if I take that failure to my next match, I am still going to be living in the past. I'm still going to be living in my previous performance where I have not performed well through. So I need to reflect, and I need to work on handling my failures and success post that competition. So I'm done with that I'm done with it there and then. And I take time to recover. I take time to experience the joy and comfort after success and after failure. And next day, the next competition is new, and you know, your goal is different, your attitude is different, everything is different. So it becomes very important to train athletes on all these aspects. Another small way to, explain how this goes about is few hours before the match, where your mental preparation happens. Like I spoke about your mental routine, the mental warm up that I'm speaking about, and during your warm up. So few hours before your match, you can have your self to be probably whatever you need in order to prepare yourself. You probably need to listen to music, or you just need to be left alone, or you want to be spoken to, or you want the support of your family. It's up to you on what works for you, or what you need, because each athlete, each human being is different. The way we function is very different. So it's very important as a sports psychologist to also understand what the athlete needs in order to perform. So the pre-match mental preparation totally is different for different athletes. Now during your warm-up, you're learning to get into the zone and building up your focus and confidence, because your match is about to start, and it's absolutely important for you to get into the zone. So the what I mean to say get into the zone is start working on your mental warm up. Probably that would be, you sitting away, but yet if you're a tennis athlete, you're sitting away, but yet you're able to look at the court. You're able to look at where you're going to keep your kit. You're able to look at where you're going to be, and you're visualizing yourself playing the shots, or serving right. That would be your way to mentally warm up, and building up your focus. Having that kind of composure and calmness, so you're feeling confident and ready and prepared to start the game. So during the match, you need to learn to maintain that zone that you were learning to get into. You need to learn to think logically, because what happens during matches is, whenever we perceive threat, whenever we feel we're about to lose, we get into the survival mode, where our emotions come first. Our emotional brain is first activated, and it takes the decisions. Either we get angry, or we get upset, or we look to that's when I say angry, upset, and when those emotions come in place, I'm trying to fight that situation. And or I may try to escape that situation by getting distracted with something else. So my brain is actually not working logically. So I need to actually train my brain in a way that I'm learning to be more rational. Like, yes, if I missed a point, if my emotions come in the way, I need to learn how to manage it. I don't need to let my emotions take over, which is why you need to train your mind for that, and how to be rational in challenging and difficult situations. And after the match, like I said, it's very important to learn to defocus, to get out of that zone, of the match zone, and come back to yourself. Learn to defocus, analyze and evaluate. That's where you reflect. That's where you analyze what happened. That's where you evaluate the areas that work well for you, the areas that you need to put in a little bit more hard work, effort, and mind to it in order to help you in your next game. Now, a sports psychologist. Now, who does a sports psychologist work with? Yes, the sports psychologist works with athletes, parents, coaches, support staff, and administrators. So why does a sports psychologist work with so many people? Because all these people are essential when we are talking about the development of an athlete. So when we are working with athletes, we are definitely working on mental skills training, like I just spoke about. We are working on strength development, that is, not only focusing on areas that need to be worked on, but also identifying the strengths of an athlete, to hone them further, to help them focus on that, and to use that as a strategy into their games. And last but not the least, the most important is athlete well-being, which is one of the main focuses also when we are working with athletes, that is athletes mental health. Because if athletes are not at the best of their mental health, or if they are not taking care of the mental health, none of the above is possible. So yes, it is our job to, while we work with athletes, to even keep a check on their mental health. Second is parents. We need to work with parents, and I'm talking about parents when I'm talking about young athletes, at least below the age of 18, where at least you normally see one of the parent, or both parents, like accompanying the athlete to their competitions, because they are the support that the athlete needs. And we work with the parents because as young athletes are mainly either on the ground or at home, and the way uh, these are the primary models of a child, and the way they shape the mind of an athlete, the way they talk to the athlete, or the way they uh, manage the athlete's failures and successes actually also shape the way the athletes think. So it's very important to even educate and help the parent create an environment that is healthy enough for an athlete to live in, which is why we also work with parents. Coaches, again, because they are the leaders, main leaders, and the ones who lead the team and who lead the athlete. So it becomes really important to educate coaches and to help them develop knowledge with respect to why mental skills are important first, and how do I incorporate that into my everyday training session, which means that I can basic things like how do I motivate my athlete, or how do I how am I how do I build confidence in an athlete, because motivation is not just a pep talk, it is also about creating an environment which is that motivates an athlete when they are coming for training. So these basic things, or how do you identify that an athlete is not really doing well mentally, these are the basic things that we educate coaches, because they are the ones who have the maximum influence and power of shaping an athlete's mindset. And obviously when we are working with coaches, we also work towards managing the coach and athlete relationship, which is absolutely vital when we are speaking about performance. Then of course we work with the support staff, because whenever a player goes or a team goes for matches, or when they go out of the country or out of the state, you have the support staff with them constantly. And we are still in a very infancy stage when it comes to sports psychologists to be added to the support staff. And soon enough we too are going to be a part of the sports support staff, I hope. But as of now, we do work with the sports support staff because they are the ones who travel with the athlete everywhere. And the way they think, the way they interact with athletes too makes a huge difference on how athletes view different situations. So yes, we work with the sports support staff and administrators. That's the management, where or the club or the management that works with the team or the athlete. So when we speak about performance, it's not just the coach, but there's a team behind the team, that is the psychologist, the management, the nutritionist, the physio, strength and conditioning coach, and the significant other. It can be your wife, your girlfriend, your parents, whoever is your significant other or support at in your personal life. It takes all these people in order for an athlete to perform. And even if one of these are not doing their job fine, uh, it's going to break the pyramid. It's going to cause a problem for the athlete in his performance, and it is going to hinder his performance. So which is why it becomes really important for us to work as a team with an athlete, or with the with the sports team, in order for them to perform. So our focus is not only just on-field training, mentally training, but also seeing to it that athletes are safe off-field. When we are speaking about athlete welfare, I'm talking about a safe environment for athletes while they're competing and training, and safety and well-being when they are away from the game, which is while they are, during their injury period, or when I'm talking about creating a safe environment, I also mean that what is the environment that is created for their training, not only physical safety but also mental safety and emotional safety, whether whether they are what you say, whether the kind of coaching is healthy, toxic, or it's abusive. It's very important for us to work towards the safety, because that's when an athlete will be able to be in the right frame of mind in order to perform. So yes, of course, these are the people, which is why in order to see that the athletes' welfare and well-being is met, these are the people that we work with. And of course, the kind of coaches you can see in this picture can make a huge difference on the attitudes and the perception and the behavior and the thought process of an athlete, which is why it becomes important for a sports psychologist to work with the coaches in order to maintain the well-being and performance of the athletes. And yes. Now, another activity. I want you all again to keep your chat boxes open so that I can have a look at it. And definitely the questions I'm going to answer at the end of it. Pallavi will keep a note of them and she will ask them to me. So yeah, how our perception affects our performance. This is something that our perception is based on the experiences we have had, or the ones we have understood when we were younger, and that have kept on expanding with time. That the experiences we have or the situations we encounter, based on that, the way we look at the situation is shaped over a period of time. So the question over here is, one second now, how our perception affects our performance. So number one minute. So now let's take a tennis example. For example, a seeded player versus a non-seeded player. Okay, so let's talk about situation one, where if you're playing against a seeded player, how would you perceive the situation? I have A and B, so I want you to again label it as A or B, whatever you feel, into the chat box. So player one, he perceives that he may be a better player than me on paper, but I am able to beat him in this tournament. Then that will be great. Even if I'm not able to do it, I have nothing to lose because everyone expects him to win the match. Second is, I don't see any chance of winning this game. The player that is a seeded player has won so many tournaments. He is the best player in the tournament. Let's just hope he doesn't beat me with a big difference. So what is the kind of, how would you perceive the situation? Okay. A. All right. We have a lot of people voting for the athlete in the A scenario. All right. Any more responses? Challenge accepted. Okay. We have a B also. All right. If you are playing against a seeded player, how can you perceive the situation? Okay. So now what is happening over here is the way I'm perceiving the situation, that's how I am going to look at the situation. And that's how the pressure is what I'm going to perceive. Now, you can see the arrows over here. Now, most of y'all have said A. And if y'all are in the A zone, the tendency for your pressure to, for you to experience pressure will be less, because, you're acknowledging that, yes, the player may be good or better than you, but that doesn't mean that you're any less. And even if you're not able to win the match, there's nothing to lose, and it's okay, because your self-worth or the way you see yourself is not determined by your winning or losing of a match. And the second one, the pressure will be high because you don't see any chance of winning this game. You have already given up, because when you're seeing rank 1 playing against you, you have already been like, okay, ye to jeetne wala hai, and you are perceiving the situation already as a threatful situation than looking at it as a challenge. So you don't want to encounter that situation that shows that you lack any skill, which is why you don't want, you're okay with him you're okay with giving up. You may just give up in the middle of the match, being like, okay, chuck it, he's any which way going to win. So that's how your perception in that situation or in your match moment can actually determine the pressure that you're experiencing, because it's again self-perceived. It's how you're perceiving the situation that's going to lead to how you're going to feel. Now, second one. Okay, the situation two is if you're playing against a non-seeded player, how can you perceive the situation? Now, first we were talking about a ranked player. Now we are talking about a non-ranked player, like a player with no rank. So how would you perceive the situation? Okay, a player says, I have nothing to be afraid of. I know I can win this game. I've done it before also, and I will do it again. Okay, number B is like, I should win this game. I cannot lose to a player like him. And if I lose this game, it will be very shameful defeat for me. So if you were in this situation, you tell me, how would you perceive it? Okay, one of you has said in theory A, but what I do is actually B. And yes, I know. A ideally, like I like how honest y'all are, like, but B sounds like self-defeating and self-defeating self-talk. I really am enjoying how honest y'all are. Okay, so a lot of y'all are also saying B. Yes, and you're right, as idealistic as A may sound, we tend to go with B, because there's a certain expectation that we have from ourselves, and we attach our status to it, or how people are going to judge us. Now the A player over here is saying that I have nothing to be afraid of. I know I can win this game. I have done it before also, and I'll do it again. So what is happening is the A player is falling back on his past victories, to give him that confidence so that he can handle the pressure here, or he can feel confident. Sorry, not pressure, but he can feel confident in this situation in order to play. But over here, the player B is telling himself or herself that I should win this game and I cannot lose to a player like him. And this statement itself says that अगर मैं हार गया तो मेरा इज्जत चला जाएगा, like that kind of attitude comes in over here, that it will be very shameful if I lose against a lallu player, like they say, or like some of my clients have told me, I cannot lose against this one, ye ekdam lallu hai. So this is the kind of language used by the clients, and that exactly also speaks about how they view the situation or how they perceive the situation. Because when I say I should, you make it like it is a rule, because if you lose this game, then you're a failure. So that's how you look at the situation, which is why uh, it's important for you to it's important for you. What would be helpful is to look back on your past victories that you have had, and the performances that you have done well on, and gain your confidence from there, rather than you comparing your game to your opponent and deriving how you feel about yourself from that. So yes, the minute you start telling yourself that if I lose it will be shameful, you're also attaching your self-worth to it, which is going to cause problems later on in your sporting journey, because that's how you're going to start looking at situations, that no one lesser than me, I'm already skilled, and I'm already talented, and no one lesser than me can get over me. So that's the attitude you keep, ki skill and talent hi sab hai, and hard work and effort is not something that can make you, even if you're a non-seeded player, uh, that there's more chance that you can win against me. So that's about, again, our thought process and how we are seeing the situation that actually determines the pressure you experience. So which is why the A player in this idealistic situation doesn't feel pressure, but the B player is experiencing some pressure. So now speaking about mindset. So these examples that I gave you all is actually speaking about mindset. and how players are viewing the situation. So mindset again is not an innate ability. It's not something that you're born with, but it can be learned through rigorous psychological training. That's where a sports psychologist comes in. So it's not something that you're born a Sunil Chetri, or you're born a Serena Williams, or you're born a Michael Phelps. You need to train your mind just the way that you are training the body, in order for you to have and maintain that champion mindset that you're looking to achieve. Now, when I'm speaking about mindsets, I would like to speak to you about two kinds of mindsets. And this is something that you would have noticed even in the previous examples that I just gave you. You'll be able to connect to that. Now, there are two kinds of mindset. One is fixed mindset and growth mindset. And I want you to look back to your interactions. Take a moment and think about the interactions you've had with players or coaches or team members around that. If you're working with a team, then, or if you're working with an individual player, I want you to by understanding these two mindsets, you will already be able to identify what kind of a mindset the athlete has. So there are two types of mindsets normally: the fixed and the growth mindset. So a fixed mindset athlete feels that I'm born with the skills, I'm born with talent, and I and I'm good the way I am, and I'm already a strong player, I'm already great. But a growth mindset feels that, okay, skills are something that are not fixed. I'm not born with it, but I need to work hard in order to improve it. And the more I work hard, the more effort I put, the more I'll be able to keep improving and getting better and better and better. And these skills, I'm not talking only about physical and technical, but also mental. Now, a fixed mindset. Now, when challenges come, a fixed mindset will be someone, who's always looking to avoid, who's always looking to escape that situation, because he feels that if he if he if he is in that situation, if he confronts that situation, or if he goes for it, or if he accepts the challenge, what is going to happen is it's going to reveal that, okay, he lacks a skill. But according to a fixed mindset, he already feels that he's the best. So if he attempts that task, the challenging task that is given to him, or a challenging match that he's going to play, he's going to feel like, okay, it's going to reveal that I'm not good at something. So he tends to give up easily. And that's what we notice with a fixed mindset athlete. But when challenges come to a growth mindset athlete, what is happening is, here they just embrace it. They look at it as an opportunity to grow, and they are more persistent. That even if they lack a skill, they know that with effort they can grow it. They don't look at it कि ये fixed है, ये ability fixed है. But a fixed mindset is looking at it from the point of view that I have a fixed ability, and effort is something that I don't need to put in, because if I put in effort means I'm not good enough. So that's what a fixed mindset athlete feels. And if you notice these things, the attitudes come out on the field, while they're training, that they feel that effort is unnecessary, that क्यों effort डालना है, I'm already good at this technique, or I'm already good at this skill. And the ones who put in effort are the ones who feel that they are not good enough. But a growth mindset athlete feels that effort is essential, and it is a part to mastery, that the more effort I put, the more I'll be able to master a technique, or the more I'll be able to master a skill. Now, when a fixed mindset has to encounter feedback from the coach or from his teammates, he gets very defensive, or she gets very defensive, and she tends to take it personally, and she's not thinking, or he's not thinking about it, as as something that I can learn from. So when they take it too personally, they fail to work on it, on over the feedback that's given to them, and they still go by what they think, because their mind is really fixed on their ability being the strongest. But a growth mindset athlete feels that, yes, feedback is useful. The ones who are viewing the match, if I take their feedback, probably there's something to learn from that, or probably I can improve on certain areas. I'll be able to identify areas that I have overlooked maybe. So that's the idea of the growth mindset, and that person will put in effort and work towards it. And setbacks. Now setback is whenever there's a huge obstacle coming your way, and you have flopped a show just by chance. you know uh, in times of setbacks, the fixed mindset tends to blame others, because they feel that if they have failed, it is because of something else or someone else, and it is not because of them. And they also tend to get very discouraged, which is when you'll see that athletes, when they face setbacks, a fixed mindset especially, his confidence drops down, and because he doesn't know how to overcome that. But a growth mindset uses it as a wake up call. Like, he knows, okay, this is how it went this time, in times of a setback, or when the obstacles came my way, and next time I need to consider this and work even more harder, so that I don't make the same mistake again. And they acknowledge that, okay, it is their mistake, or if they have made a mistake and if it is pointed out in their feedback, they do acknowledge it, they do embrace it, and they put it in their goals in order to work further. So this is the difference in mindset. And grit, the G of grit, also stands for growth mindset. So it is not that the fixed mindset cannot be moved to the growth mindset. Yes, definitely the fixed mindset with psychological skills training, with the correct training, can definitely move towards becoming a growth mindset, where he is not comparing himself with someone else, or he's not deriving his success or failures by winning against someone, but by comparing himself to his previous matches, previous games, previous performances, and accordingly mastering the tasks, or the challenges that come his way. uh, Now the process that a sports psychologist follows, now this is the process that we follow at grit, is we start with an intake assessment. One second. Yeah, we start with an intake assessment, and in this intake assessment, we make note of the performance history, the sports journey that the athlete has been through, the relationship with the coaches, with the teammates, with people at home, the environment during training, the environment at home or in school, relationship with his friends, from his motivations to understanding his or her motivations, his current confidence levels, speaking about certain matches or performances that he or she has had that have given him or her a boost, or certain matches or performance that have really made them feel like a failure, sorry, how they view situations. Everything is understood in the assessment. Now once we analyze this data that we get, is we create a profile which looks like this, which helps us understand, okay, this is how the athlete's profile looks, that we need to work on this is how much the athlete is on his communication with his coach, or his relationship with his teammates, or his attitude, or how much he believes in himself. And when we create an athlete profile, we understand as to where we can improve the skills, what we need to change, and what we need to maintain, the skills that we need to maintain, the skills that we need to change, or the skills that we need to improve. So we create this athlete profile with the athlete. And once we create a profile, we set goals. Now when I'm saying setting goals, yes, the athlete always wants to win, and the reason that you're in sport is because there is someone who's winning and someone who's not, because there is competition. So definitely the athlete wants to win, so that is the outcome goal. At the end, he's looking to win a competition. But what goes in winning that, we set mental goals and emotional goals with them. That is something like having the ability to bounce back, having the ability to having a positive attitude, or fear of failure, working towards the fear of failure, or recovering from mistakes, or having a positive and powerful body language. These are the kind of goals we set, because these are the things that are going to help an athlete reach where they want to reach. And then we fit an intervention and put an intervention in place, which is a plan which includes strategies, which includes techniques that are scientifically proven, um, in order to help an athlete overcome the obstacles and achieve the goals, which then further helps him or her achieve the outcome goal. That is the main goal, that's the long term goal. And through the process of the intervention, we are monitoring and evaluating the process, because when we set goals, we set smart goals that are specific, that are measurable, that are achievable, that are realistic, and that are time bound. So in that process, we create a way for us with our athletes where we monitor and evaluate the goals, so we know uh, how much improvement and progress the athlete has been making mentally. And we not only have off-field sessions with athletes, we also have on-field sessions with athletes. We not only train them, but we also have observation sessions with them, where we go and view them in their natural training environment. So we also know of how much general motivation they have, or how much what you say inactive time they have in order in their training, or whether their training is structured or not. These are the things that help us also help an athlete to keep their mind going when they are training and performing. And yes, after evaluating, once the goal is achieved, we come back and make changes in the profile, and again we set goals, and again we put an intervention. So like I said, it's not a curative science only. Sports psychology, we are not only looking to fix problems here, but we are looking to prevent them from happening, which is why we come back to the athlete's profile and we work towards improving other aspects that could possibly help them in their development and performance. Okay, one case study. Quickly, I'm going to speak to you all about it, since I'm already over time. Gone a little bit bored, I've taken a little bit time, another 5 minutes and I'll be done.
That's okay. You can go ahead.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. Thanks. So this is a case study with the Indian national football team, the under 16 team, where Grit was given the brief that you have to build a program that has an immediate impact before the team leaves for their exposure trip. And me and my partner, Morel, we both just looked at each other and we were baffled, and we were like, okay, this is a great opportunity, but how can you expect us in 1 or 2 sessions to do something that will create an impact, and where these players are going to go ahead and the team is going to go for the exposure trip, and where they're going to play with different countries, and you're expecting them to perform, and we just didn't know what we must do in that moment, because this is the expectation that people have from sports psychologists, thinking that like we can create the impact. Yes, definitely we can create the impact, provided we are given that amount of time with them. So what we did was we worked this out, and we definitely worked with the team. How we went through with it is, there is, first of all, I would like to tell you all that there is no one formula that fits all. You just you say this plus this is equal to performance. No, there is no one formula that works, because uh, a team is made up of different people. Different people have different personalities. Different personalities means different traits, different characteristics, different skills, different backgrounds, different journeys altogether. So there's no one formula in order for athletes to win. So what we did was, we decided, okay, let's do some individual work with the head coach and the support staff. Why? Because these are the people who are going to accompany the team, the under 16 team, for their tournament, for their exposure trip. And these are the guys who are going to be with them on a constant basis, on an everyday basis, every hourly basis probably. So it becomes really important what do you say, to it becomes really important to educate them and to empower them with certain techniques in order for them to in order for them to help athletes or shape the mindsets. So what we did is we visited the training field where the athletes were training that time in Goa. And we had on-field observations of athletes. We had a checklist and we observed athletes, and we checked the skills that are essential in football, whether it was their attention, their communication, their body language, confidence, the way the coaches were communicating, or the way they responded to the coaches. All these aspects were put into consideration. The environment created, all these aspects were put into consideration when we were having an on-field observation. Then we sat with the coach and we had an intake assessment with the coach, one-on-one, where we sat with the coach, and we the same assessment that we do with athletes we had, but a different assessment for the coach, where it was very important for us to understand what is the coaching philosophy that the athletes have, what is the coaching philosophy, what is the coaching style, what is the coach's expectation from the team firstly, what is the coaching expectations from the team, and what are the aspects mentally that he's expecting the players, or what are the skills that he already feels that the athletes have and they're working well on. And when we did the analysis and we understood his journey also as a coach, and how the players have been, how they've been training, and how their training takes place, we identified communication and mental effort to be the aspects that needed to be worked on. So when I speak about communication, it was on-field communication, verbal and non-verbal. Apparently players used to not communicate with each other, which is why they used to not be like, some of the players would not pass to the other teammates when they had open space where they can shoot, where they could have shot. And mental effort, the amount of mental effort put in the game was not there. That is, they used to not persist even when they were tired, or they used to not be as committed as he expected them to be. So these were the two areas that we worked towards. So what we did is we started with first having workshops in order to educate the support staff and the head coach, where we help them understand how player mindsets work and their role in developing mindsets. So especially how we can develop a mindset where the athlete learns how to communicate with their teammates. So that is something we work towards with the coaches and with the team and with the support staff. And when I'm speaking to the coach, I'm also talking about the way the coach, we also spoke about strategies in which the way the coach should communicate with their athletes, the way the kind of communication the coach has, not only verbal but also non-verbal, their body language, how the support staff interacts with the players, how that could have an effect in the way the players handle certain difficult situations, or the way the players view the situations as challenges more than threats, and are paying more attention to effort rather than fixing their mind on just abilities. So we had done a lot of workshops with them, and we created a plan where we helped the coaches. We understood the coach's training plan, the drills, and we helped the coach to incorporate the mental aspect into the training drills, so that while they are even physically and technically training, they are also mentally training on communication, not only verbal but also non-verbal. And we followed up with them with emails, and while they were away, they kept in touch with us, and whatever obstacle they faced, they worked on it. They were in touch with us, they worked on it, and we got some excellent feedback from them. And that was their first encounter where they realized that, okay, that when we speak about mental skills training, it's not creating the most biggest change, but it's the small things that we need to pay attention to that go without notice, and we need to work on that and improve that, and that's when it makes a huge difference. So that was something that when the team wasn't, and the team wasn't, had never encountered a sports psychologist or didn't know what a sports psychologist does, with educating, it was a little challenging for us to kind of power through the whole process of getting them to acknowledge that, okay, we need to sit together and work together. But once they understood that how we function, how we work, and how it is every person in the team that needs to be worked in order for the team, like every person, like from a physio to a nutritionist to a physical conditioning trainer to a coach, everyone has to work, the support staff, the management, everyone has to work together in order for the team to flourish. That's when they started becoming a little bit more open, and slowly they started implementing all the strategies that we put in place for them, and they managed to see excellent changes and results with their players. uh, so yeah, I would like, so that was an introduction about sports psychology, and I would like to just end with what grit does. um, so our main mission is to create widespread acceptance of the importance of psychological development along with physical improvement. We want athletes and sports persons to not only focus on physical improvement but also focus on psychological development. We want the federations, we want the management, we want administrators to understand that without working on your mind, it is going to be really difficult in order to go ahead and execute a physical function. So that is our main mission. And one thing I would like to let you all know, that an athlete's journey to success is not just working technically and physically, but these are all the steps in order for him to climb to reach the number one, to reach the medal. It is working firstly on their mental health, considering that they're constantly traveling for matches and for competitions. They have very less time to create connections or to have friends. The team is their friend, the team is their family, or the coaches and the support staff are become their family because they travel so much. Overcoming failure, the coach athlete relationship, they have to climb every step and learn to manage it, and in order to reach the number one. And that's when you call an athlete who has a champion mindset. So that's what sports psychologists do, is we help them make their climb easier, and help them manage all these obstacles that may come their way in order for them to reach and become successful. uh, Another thing that grit works towards is mental skills training, which I already explained how that works and the process that goes beyond it. And the strengths development is where we identify strengths of athletes, and we work towards honing their strengths even more and coaching them even more. And these are the services that we provide. We do individual consultation, that is one-on-one sessions with athletes. That doesn't mean that if a team sport player wants to have a session with a sports psychologist, he or she cannot, and the session has to be only with the whole team. No, we have a lot of individual consultations from team sports like football, cricket, that we are working with. Team development, that's working with the teams and creating team goals so that everyone is on the same page towards achieving the goal. Parent workshops, like I said, because it's very important to educate them as to why and what athletes require in order to be mentally strong, and also how to help athletes handle success and failures after their matches. Because when athletes fail, if you all have actually gone and watched even an MSLTA match, uh, where tennis athletes are playing, the kind of comments that you hear from parents, from stands, it's hilarious at times because they take it too personally, and they look at the success and failures of athletes as an extension to themselves, which is something that we need to work towards and help them understand that we need to give some agency to athletes, where they are a separate individual altogether with a mind and with brains, and they are going to have different experiences, and we cannot lose our temper or get angry or you know lose control over ourselves because our children have lost in a match. So it becomes very important to educate parents so that they create an environment that's safe for their kids, in order for their athletes, young athletes, to mentally power through their challenges and be a good support system to them. Then athlete workshops specifically are for athletes to be educated on the skills, mental skills, educate them about the skills and provide them with certain strategies that they could use. Coach development is where we work one-on-one with coaches to help them create their philosophies, working on their coaching styles, so that they create a good culture and a good environment, and they incorporate psychological skills training into their training sessions. And coach education again comes in the form of workshops, where it's mostly educating coaches on a lot of aspects, on a lot of mental skills, where they are more aware, because when we speak about development, it starts with awareness. So awareness is the key. So that's all from me for today. These are my contact details, Grit's contact details. Y'all can visit the website. Y'all can have a look at our Instagram handle, our Facebook page, and if there's anything y'all want to say or y'all want to speak to us about, y'all can definitely email us, and we'll get back to y'all. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole. It was wonderful presentation and very well explained about introduction of sports psychology. And we are having few questions here. So we'll take that up for now.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have a question from Shona. Why do you think there is resistance to start working with a sports psychologist? How do we encourage athletes to consider working with a sports psychologist? Like the right things to say to them so they can step forward to reach you out. So if you can guide for that, that will be great.
Okay, Pallavi, first question was, what is the,
So basically she meant to ask, like, what will you tell, what do you say to athletes so that they will approach sports psychologists to improve their performance?
So firstly, I would like to say that there's a lot of stigma attached to psychology as a term. You need, something is wrong with you, which is why you're going to a psychologist, which is not at all true, because like I mentioned, it is not just a curative science, it is a preventive science, where we are looking to prevent we are looking to have enough resources to overcome obstacles when they come to us, or when we face challenges. So what we could do is possibly is here the support staff, the coaches, the federations, the academies play a huge role, where they educate their young athletes, saying that, hey, tera concentration kam hai na, tu ja sports psychologist ke paas. No. If you want to work on your mental skills, agar you want to get stronger, if you want to be able to do well in your in your competitions, you definitely need to work with a sports psychologist, because you're only going to improve, because you're only going to get better. So that stigma that is attached to the term psychology, which is why we have people, with names like mental conditioning coaches, or mental toughness trainers, or brain hack trainers. So these are different names. Why? Because the stigma is attached to the whole term of psychology, and if we have to remove that stigma, I feel it's very important to have an open conversation, to start talking openly with your athletes, and not belittling them, saying that, listen, you have issues with the way of focusing, your mind is not in the right place, you need to see someone. it will only make me feel that, okay, there's something that's lacking in me, which is why I need to go to a person, and not that I'm not going to look at the situation that I need to be the best, which is why I need to see someone, who can help me reach that best. So I think it's more of the job of the coaches, the sports support staff, or whoever is in touch in with the athletes, to help them understand that you're only going to move, and it's only going to make your climb easier to where you want to reach. So making the conversation normal, and getting rid of the stigma is the only way.
Odd. Thank you. There is one more question from Mr. Kamlesh. So I think there is a like whole lot of draft over there. What I understood is like how psychology helps to maintain the good performance in recurrent like say episodes of playing or sports. So the question, if there is a fear, like after good run or good performance, there is a chance that there is a sudden drop in performance. So how does that tackle with it? How do
So
you guys tackle with such players?
So the year I'll speak about persistence, or perseverance is something
Okay.
that comes in play as a skill, yes, your body is going to give up at one point, but are you even training yourself during your training sessions, in times of fatigue, or in when your body is giving up? Are you training your mind as to how to be resilient in those situations?
Right.
Is that something you're training your athletes towards? If you're not, you're going to expect them to give up, and resilience training is something that we do also, where in small ways, where it's in simple ways. When our athletes are really tired, we give them a task which needs concentration, or which needs
Okay.
more focus, so they are made to focus, like it's a task that
Right.
they have to complete. So it helps
Right.
us understand also to what extent they are able to expand their mind and push themselves and go beyond what they already have. Are they willing to take that challenge, or are they
True.
willing to give up? And it becomes absolutely important to keep that perseverance going and pushing them little by little, rather than pushing them hard, where
Right.
they will give up. So that kind of training is something that also we do.
All right. Thank you. That's great. Next question is from Durga. That do you use psychological tools to create the profiles, or are they based on an interview? I
So they are
think
based
there
on an
was.
interview. Yeah. So I'll tell you what we do at Grit. I cannot speak for everyone. Is
Right.
we do not use scales or tests, because there is very less research done on our Indian population,
Yeah.
on our Indian sports people,
Athletes. Yeah.
on our Indian sports persons, in order for us to create a test or tool in order to validate what skills they have. And if I'm going to use mental toughness tools or concentration tools from European countries, it's not valid on our Indian population or on our Indian sports
Absolutely.
persons. So
True.
what we do is we have a brief intake where it goes in more like an interview. I wouldn't even call it an interview. I would call it a conversation with our athletes, where it's more of talking and building comfort with them, and
Okay.
where they feel free enough to confide in us and to talk to us about all the problems and experiences that they have had, and which then helps us understand. That's our job. We are trained to analyze and
Right.
evaluate data, so which helps us evaluate the data and put it into graphs, that okay,
Right.
this is the kind of I cannot put a number to it, but at least I'm aware ki, okay, this is the idea of confidence that he has, or this is the
Right.
level of resilience that he has to a situation, and this is how he looks at difficult challenges, this is how he overcomes, these are his current coping strategies, what more does he need. So these are the aspects that I'm able to evaluate and analyze as a sports psychologist. So I do not use scales and tests, but
Okay.
yes, the assessment is more through a conversation.
All right. And I feel like more customized towards the athlete and
Absolutely,
the sport.
absolutely,
All
yes.
right. Now there is
And
one
one
more.
thing I
Yeah.
missed out on saying during the workshop was, when we are doing the intake, we are not only doing the intake with the athlete, but we also consider the comments that come out from the coaches. So we also sit with the
Okay.
coaches to understand how they view the athlete, because the athlete's perception alag hota hai, coach ka perception about athlete bhi
Right.
alag hota hai. So we
Right.
also want to see whether they are on the same page or whether they are on two different pages, because then it helps us also understand what is the gap and how do we set goals with them. So when
Right.
we do the intake assessment, we get information not only from the athlete but from the coaches, and if the athlete is young, then definitely from the parents also. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Now there is one more question from Vardhini, that what are the common myths around sports psychology that you have encountered in the field? So I think partially you have answered it earlier, but if you want to add on something, please go ahead.
Yeah, like that, once in a way, if you do a session, it should have an impact. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's a myth ki ek workshop kar lo, chalo theek ho
हो
jayega.
गया.
Team will be
True.
pumped up to go and perform. I think that is a myth, because it doesn't work like that. Imagine the first time you had to, you had to learn to dribble a ball, or you had to learn to, uh, play a serve. Uh, the amount of time it took you to learn that, I can just like imagine, at least with athletes, and they're still practicing. How can
True.
you expect your mind to be trained in 1 hour, or say 15 20
Absolutely.
minutes of a talk? That's one thing.
True.
And second thing is, a very another important thing I would like to put across is, that it's not that anyone who's in the field of sport can help you mentally train. Just because you have a sports background doesn't mean that you're fit in order to
True.
psychologically train athletes or teams. And you need to be a qualified professional. So whoever
Right.
you're working with, pay like, even if the person is senior, like, do not hesitate to ask credentials from them, and
Absolutely.
asking, what have they studied, because at the end it is knowledge
Knowledge.
that is put into perspective, and
Absolutely.
strategies
Giving
are
the
put in
result.
place.
True.
So if you're not with the right people, you're not going to get the results that you're hoping to get. So
Right.
one myth is that, okay, meko experience hai, I have been an athlete, I know what an athlete goes through. But are you trained enough to train another athlete as to how they should mentally train themselves? Yes, you can speak from your experiences, and
Right.
definitely you can share your experiences, but you also need to understand what that athlete needs in that moment, which
True.
is where a sports psychology professional comes.
Right.
So it's not just anyone with a sport background can be a sports psychologist. You need to be
Right.
qualified, you need to study,
True.
and you need to practice it in order for you to be in a position to help. So yeah.
Yeah, and that comes with a lot of responsibility as well. So
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, definitely. Next is from Mr. Kaushik. He's asking, can we work with recreational marathon runners and there is no winning or losing involved, but completing 42-kilometer race is more important? So
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that is possible though, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We
your
do
take.
work with marathoners too, and
Mhm.
it's about their own, what you say, fight with themselves. And marathon is
Mhm.
all about the mind. You're not
Yeah,
competing against anyone.
yeah,
You're actually trying to get better and better. So definitely sports psychology principles and exercise psychology principles can be put into place, and we have a few marathoners at grid that we are working with already, in helping them achieve their goals, and what goes into reaching that point that they want to reach. Again, the goal is set by them and not
right.
by us. We just help them reach their goals. So yes, definitely.
Yes, thank you so much. And there is one question by Vidula about myth that I encountered a lot of time is that sports psychologist, I should be able to give quick results. I think you have answered this with
Yes.
training, which actually takes a lot more time.
Yes.
And last one is from the physiotherapist Smruti. She's asking, being a physiotherapist, how to handle player when they go to or want to play after incomplete rehab?
Well, you have to work with, that's where I think having
Challenge
a
comes.
sports psychologist is very important.
Yeah,
You have to help them, because there's a hurry, to get back on field, because you're being away from the field for the longest time. And it becomes very important, where a sports psychologist can actually show the mirror to the athlete to say that these are the possible consequences that you will have to deal with. So right now, even if you're halfway through it, if you're going to a small a small drop could lead you into a long-term injury, which will, lead to more anxiety, stress, depression, n number of things. And coming out of that, it's going to take you a lot of time to cope, to adapt to a new lifestyle, and to get back. So it is important when an athlete is in injury rehab to be assisted, to have a sports psychologist assisting him or her, because the mental recovery starts from the beginning while the physical recovery is happening, and not after the physical recovery has happened. So then it's like more work for the athlete to do. So while a sports psychologist is there with the athlete since the beginning, since the time the injury has occurred and since the rehab has started, he's also processing the whole trauma he's gone through. He's also processing his emotions. He's also disputing the fears that he may have, which will make him be in the right mental state when his full physical recovery is done. To then go ahead. Yeah.
Right. And how do you train discipline? That's what Mansi is asking.
So how do we train discipline? That's a very interesting question. So there is that comes with behavior, and that's behavior modification, and that again comes with setting the right goals with the athlete. Why does the athlete need to be disciplined to begin with? Understanding the purpose in order for him or her to be more committed to the action, rather than us enforcing and seeing no result. So that again comes with sitting with the athlete to understand why is there a need in order to be disciplined, or how is it affecting your performance if you're not disciplined. So that conversation needs to be had with the athlete in order to start setting goals accordingly.
Thank you. So everybody is thanking you, and so is I'm thanking you via from ASNFS team. I just request you once to share your screen with your contact details, because people want to get connected with Grit. So this was Nicole Menezes from Grit Sports Psychology. Please feel free to approach her. And meanwhile, all the ASNFS members and people who have registered for the psychology sessions, stay tuned at 2:45 sharp every day till 5th of June for the psychology sessions. Thank you very much. And thank you so much, Nicole. It was a wonderful session. And so nice to see you after so many years.
Yes, I'm glad I could be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was very interesting, and I was so thrilled to see though it is a webinar over Zoom, the participants being very interactive on the chat and being very honest. So it was lovely to be here. Thank you so much. And you can definitely get in touch with me over the contact details I've sent. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Nicole. So meanwhile, all the participants, please make sure that you will fill up the feedback form. And for this session, we do not have any WhatsApp group though, but this is the same link which will go till 5th of June. And email ID of Nicole is here, so you can just approach her. Yes, thank you. This was a refreshing session. So Nicole, that is for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. It was great having you over here. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Nicole.
Bye-bye.